for sure. It's definitely not going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of hurdles and a lot of obstacles. There's not going to be a smooth sailing kind of pathway to success.
All right, LDBC, Lions Den Boxing Community, but we got MMA going on. This is your boy, Coach Shelton Harrison. You're live on the Coach Shelton Harrison Combat Sports Show live. And man, I got, I got the future of the featherweight division. Hollowpoint, Miss Janay Hollowpoint Harding. How you doing this morning, young lady?
Very good. How are you?
Hey, I'm glad you asked. I think you're the first person in 36 hours to ask me how I'm doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was you, so thank you. I'm doing great.
Yeah, cool.
But I'm doing good. Then I get to speak to you right here, right now, live. Wow.
It's gonna be a good day.
It's gonna be an awesome day. I'm excited. Janae, you have had, you've had some tough fights. You've had a lot of tough fights, and you've been in mostly all your fights. You've been, putting up a nice little scrap. Like and I just watched your last fight, where I thought you did like incredibly well in that fight.
Thank you.
What did you take out of that fight against Amber Liebert?
Obviously, I didn't get the win, so there's a lot of critique and a lot of things that we can obviously take back to the drawing board and take back and work on. I found, I guess the big stage is a big different kind of environment for me, especially being kind of someone who's had most of my fights locally in Australia and then only had one international fight before shooting off to being on a promotion like Bellator. It's a big step up, and I think possibly that kind of got to me because watching it back, it's obviously always super frustrating because you're like, why are you not doing these things, or kind of the normal things that I would usually do in training. But it's kind of just, I think, getting used to it, and there was a lot of things that I was just maybe not throwing with intention, and I wasn't aggressive as I usually am in some of my fights, and things like that I can definitely bring back to the drawing board and take on board and get kind of switched on, I think, a little bit more when it comes to competitions.
Okay. But Janay, I don't know, you said you throwing with intentions, because every time you hit her, she felt the intentions behind your punch. I don't think those are love taps. I think yeah, and you actually staggered. You staggered Amber a few times, and and I have to look at it. You're 23, right?
Yeah, 23. Yeah.
How long have you actually been fighting in mixed martial arts?
I had my first fight just after turning 18, so about 5 years ago. That was my first amateur fight. First time I jumped in the cage. Yeah.
5 years isn't a whole lot of time in the sport of MMA. That's not a lot of time, right?
100%. 100%, especially when you've got things like jiu-jitsu and everything else. It's not a lot of time to kind of become more mature, and maturity, I think, really showed in that last fight, in comparison between Amber and myself. She was definitely the more mature fighter.
Yeah, because you went the distance with people like, Jesse Rose Clark. You went the distance with Megan Anderson. I mean, and when you fought Megan, that was your first fight. That was your first
my second ever. Yeah.
Wow.
It was my it was an amateur fight. I think it's written up as a pro on the online and stuff. But yeah, it was my second ever fight. Second time being in the cage and second time competing against someone who now is doing so well. It's so funny how the time both treated us. It's quite cool.
Yeah. You've grown considerably.
Yeah.
And you're only 23.
Mhm.
Wow, that's still incredible. When I think of you, and I'm thinking of watching a lot of your fights, and when I see you step into the octagon, and then if somebody would look at the record, I always say, man, don't let the record fool you. This girl can fight. This girl has just been in there with some sharks that's got years more experience. And I think when you turn 26, 25, God Almighty, I think you're gonna be knocking people out. Cause every win you've ever had, you've knocked them out.
Yeah. All my pro wins are from TKOs and KOs, so clearly I got some heavy hands, but
Yeah, you got some heavy hands. I bet, I bet if you and your friends, y'all just kind of play a little bit doing this right here, I bet they don't even play with you, do they?
yeah, no, not really, no.
I wouldn't play with you either because you look like you can, like knock somebody out.
Yeah, I think I'm lucky that my genetics and I guess like my kind of caliber and size definitely helps me in those kind of things. So it's like when you say I may have had intention on my end, I look back at it and I'm like, oh, I can hit harder than that. But I'm just lucky that I naturally kind of hit hard. Like, so it's like, you're funny.
If you hit any harder than that, you're gonna knock somebody's head off their shoulders. That's just how it is. Now,
Yeah, definitely.
I watched you fight. I watched the fight when you fought Jesse Rose Clark. And before I even started following you, see, I've been following the sport for a while, and I was a boxer,
Yeah.
but I always watch MMA, and I watched you fight Jesse Rose Clark, and you hit her with like a three, maybe it's a three punch combination flurry, and you staggered her against the cage, and I'm like, dang man, she's doing this to Jesse Rose Clark. I'm like, wow. Um, I mean, what were your coaches telling you in that particular fight? When you were going back in between rounds.
I think just I think because I hadn't made weight, so that was a big kind of mental factor, and it really played on me. I think in the performance, even though points wise I did win 2 out of 3 rounds, I was just kind of a little bit mentally. The fact that I was 1-0 as a pro and she was number one in Australia and New Zealand, and kind of like this big caliber of opponent, she definitely obviously had more experience than me. I kind of expected, I don't know, a little bit more of a challenge almost. Like I think when I got in there, the challenge was larger than in my head. I'd made it larger than what it really was, and I didn't really back myself as much because of that kind of mental factor of not making weight and stuff. So then I think I got in there, and it was like I was getting better during the fight. During the 3 rounds, I was kind of progressing and realizing, oh, she's not taking me down. I'm not getting out wrestled. I'm not like I got caught in a couple of submissions, but I wasn't getting subbed, and I hadn't got subbed. So I was like, oh, this isn't as kind of like I can 100% win this, and I think maybe that kind of mental aspect of it really played a big part in the performance. But I'm glad I can look back on it and see that I was hanging out like with one of the best, and now who's progressed so far in the sport, that I was definitely like going toe to toe with someone like that, which was really cool.
Wow. I mean, but I had actually saw you fight, and then I saw you fight again after that, and I was like, man, this young lady, she's going places like you you know, and maybe I was like, man, she punches hard. She actually you were getting out of those submissions, and she can submit you. And
100%.
you kept escaping one of the best submission artists in the game. It was you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Amazing, amazing. Well, okay, so we got the first couple of questions out the way. You need to go ahead and take that deep breath now. We got it out the way. Yeah, see now, now we're going to loosen up a little bit here. We're going to loosen up. So, after this fight, okay, so your last fight, you fought a tough fight against Liebrecht, who, by the way, she got finished, like, quickly by Megan Anderson, somebody you went the distance with.
Mhm.
What's the probability of you guys running that fight back? Because, I got to see it.
100%. I like obviously we've already thought of this and talked about it, and I guess it would just probably depend on who we end up finding next. But I'd say the probability, especially with the featherweight division. Bellator has a very strong featherweight division, but you always kind of end up like with female fighting, you always kind of end up having rematches and stuff like that because the popularity is just not there, and the population of proponents aren't there. So we'll hope. I reckon like we both win our next ones, or whatever happens, and I've got another 4 with Bellator, so I'd say probably by the end of that contract we might see another Amber and Janay too, and yeah, it might be a little bit of a different result for sure.
Now, Janay, when you got that phone call, whether it be from Scott Coker or anybody, and they were like, Janay, we want you to fight under our banner at Bellator. You got to first, you got to give me your facial expression first. And then you got to tell me how excited you were. But first, I'm gonna need the facial expression.
Oh, because I think I was in Thailand,
Yeah.
and my manager called me, or I like had just checked my phone. I was like, oh yeah, he called me. He was like, can you call me? And every time I see a message that says call me, I know it's like something important, or it's either good news or bad news, but it's important either way. And so I think my like facial expression when I called him up and figured out that it was good news was like super stoked, and I was a sweaty mess, but I was like really excited about it once he said they're after us and they're interested, and I was like, cool,
So you
that's
start
good.
smashing that $1 million smile. I mean, was everybody
Yeah.
around you knew that it was good news when they saw you, cheesing real hard?
Down at the end of the match, just couldn't wipe this facial expression off me, and yeah, I was like really really happy about it.
Okay, I got you. Well, that's good. That's good. So it seems like Bellator, a lot of people there. And I've interviewed what one, two, three. I've interviewed three people that they fight
Hmm.
at Bellator, and everybody have the exact same story. Like they're really happy with how Bellator is promoting and treating them. What is your great story, or what is your story with Bellator?
Just my like general feedback. I mean, it's obviously a long process, and when I got signed, they signed a couple of other people at the same time, and they were going through the whole Paramount thing. They were changing commentators. There was a lot going on in Bellator towards the end of last year. They were making heaps of changes, but heaps of positive changes, and heaps of changes that kind of proves that they're being innovative and they're thinking outside the box, and they're definitely trying to improve their status as a promotion, and really be competitive with things like the UFC and ONE FC and all that kind of stuff, all the big promotions. So um, obviously everything took time, but things like the visas, we got that sorted. Once we got that sorted, we got a match, and everything from there was really good. And then um, obviously being international and not really speaking to anyone face to face, or not really knowing anyone in the same time zone because everyone's from America and all that kind of stuff. Once I got to San Jose, we were just like blown away with how well we were treated and how easy everyone was to communicate with. Any questions, any requests, anything we needed was like straight away answered, and we were like really stoked. We had no issues with anything at all. Um, and then obviously getting there and getting to that kind of professionalism as well, you kind of get a little bit surprised with being looked after in a way where they actually care. They're like, oh, you have to go to the hospital because we just want to make sure you're all right and all that kind of stuff. And just those little differences and details were really good. And I mean, I've done stuff with like the Contender Series and that kind of thing, and I got treated well, but it was kind of like a different experience altogether. And then this was just like a massive step up in the way that we got treated and handled. It was really, really cool.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's some that's awesome. You know, you're there now. You're at Bellator. You with a really big name promotional company, and they're obviously excited because you put on exciting matchups. I mean, everybody you fight, it's an interesting fight. Um,
Yeah,
and you're a banger, girl. I mean, you get in there and you just let the hands go, man. That's one thing I like about you. Let the hands go. But
thanks.
so now, when you got signed to Bellator, what were your thoughts when finally you saw like the UFC is opening up a featherweight division, and now they got the tough tournament going on? What kind of
Hmm.
thoughts did you have about that?
Yeah, obviously I just kind of had that whole Contender Series opportunity kind of fall through, and then I'd kind of had my sights set on this UFC pathway, and I could see it all kind of unraveling in that direction, and then it took a bit of a curveball when we couldn't get the visa, and I couldn't get in. But when Bellator called, I thought it was perfect, to be honest. As soon as we kind of talked about it, I was like, that's a great development. It's a great place to get experience. It's a great platform. It's still a really great show. I'm obviously still getting paid exactly the same as I would probably in the UFC, and everything like that. So there was no negatives at all. It was all like, this is a, if not better pathway for me. And then at the end of this contract, who knows where I'll go, but at least I have that kind of, because that's what I need. I need cage time. I mean, I need that maturity, like we're kind of saying, as a fighter, because I kind of didn't have the opportunity to have heaps of opponents available to me because of Australia's kind of popularity of MMA. So if I maybe had started MMA in America, it might have been a different story. But since I haven't, I love the fact that I get to kind of use Bellator as a great chance to get these cool opportunities and go traveling and fight big names, and really test myself, but also kind of just get used to the whole vibe of things and having public weigh-ins and having big like promotions like at the SAP Center and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's going to be really, really great.
Oh, okay. It is going to be great because you definitely got a great future ahead of you. For everything that you're doing, you got a great future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll let this interview take a slight turn. Now
Sure.
just doing some research on you. You made one of the most, I think you made one of the greatest comments that I've ever heard when it comes to a women's MMA fighter, and I looked at it. It was it was an older interview you did, and you said that I don't take like raunchy photographs because you said something to the extent of I'm a fighter. You said I'm a fighter. I don't. God, it was something to the extent of, you don't go online and take all the crazy photographs because yeah, it was more or less like I guess a self-respect thing. And I'm trying to remember because you got to understand I've been watching hours and hours of just interviews and clips of you. So because I like to have a conversation with people. But yeah. So can you explain it because when this video uploads, a lot of females, I've interviewed a lot of female MMA fighters, and they watch this,
cool.
and I got a couple of up and coming fighters that will watch this. So, now what is your I know your rationale, but could you kind of explain it?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think when I was fighting on local shows and stuff, I realized that there's a lot of people watching, and everything that you do kind of has a bit of an impact, whether you realize it or not. And there's a lot of younger generations, especially coming through like the jiu-jitsu side of things. There's a lot of young girls starting in jiu-jitsu and maybe getting bullied or whatever's happening, and they're getting influenced by these people. Maybe if they're going to local MMA shows or they're watching UFC on TV, it doesn't matter. They're kind of getting influenced by the role models that's put in front of them. And whether I like it or not, I'm one of those role models, and I need to kind of take that as a responsibility. And as well as that, I don't want to get rid of my ethics just because maybe my popularity or my fan base will get a little bit bigger and I might get a little bit more exposure. I want to keep kind of true to myself and my ethics and kind of stay on that track as well. So it's kind of like a personal and a bit of a professional kind of outlook, is just remember who's watching and who you're influencing, and then just don't let kind of the, I guess, fame, for lack of a better word, like change who you are. I just want to be real from now, from my very first Bellator fight to maybe in like 5 years when I'm a world champion. Like, I don't want to change that for who I am, so I'm not going to start kind of putting up raunchy pictures just for some extra followers or some extra likes. It's not going to change kind of who I need to be. I kind of just want to get there on my own terms and change that stereotype a little bit as well. That would be really, really kind of positive in my eyes.
Okay. Man, extraordinary. That's all I can say about that statement. It's extraordinary. Okay. I mean, I'm excited here talking to you. Like, you just don't understand. I'm excited. I was kind of shaking, with this. Like, man, I'm gonna talk to Janay, and I've had dozens of interviews, but I'm like, man, I'm talking to the Hollowpoint. Matter of fact, where does Hollowpoint come from?
There's not really any like great story behind it, to be honest. It just sounds great. Just kind of like worked as a good nickname, and HT kind of. I was like adopting the HD from like Pat HT Barry for a little bit there, just because it flowed, and my last name's Harding, so it's all like alliteration. And then we kind of were just brainstorming certain ideas for fight names and all that kind of stuff, and we're like, oh, HP and Hollowpoint would be good for branding, good for like black and gold. We got some good color schemes going on and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just I think it fits well and it sounds good and it looks good on paper. So that helps.
I'm gonna tell you what you ought to do. See now,
Mhm.
I just got this brilliant idea. Okay, I'm gonna see if you
Yeah.
go. I'm gonna see if you go along with this. Okay,
Yeah.
we need to take one of your walkout song. Hold on, I'm coming. But I think we
Yeah.
ought to do. We take an instrumental, and then
Mhm.
let's just make a rap song to it.
Cover it. Just like, yeah, put a hook in there somehow.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. See, we ain't talking about no 2 second hook. No, 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 no. We talking about Janay Harding. We talking about Janay Harding in live. Live, live, live with this rap song.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know what you would say.
I'm personally not the best rapper, but maybe I could like find one of my friends or something like that to cover it up and then make a little like my own personal kind of walkout song.
You look
That might
like you
work.
you look like you got a lot of rhythm. Come on, I think you can put words together and make them rhyme and say them in a sentence. Of course you can do that. Nah. What?
my, my flow. It hasn't been tested yet. I haven't really given it a good go, so maybe I'll have to try.
Oh man, oh man. Oh, she
First
acting
time.
shy. She's acting shy, y'all. But no, but that was really really awesome. You how you laid everything out, and so now I want to ask you. I saw you in Thailand,
hmm
and why is it that everybody that go to Thailand they hold mitts with that guy? They either get to kick him to death or they get to punch him to death. Is that guy? Is that like the main guy at in Thailand that people just like to beat up on?
Are you talking about Took specifically? Or like
Yeah.
my crew? Oh, I don't know. Because to be honest, like he was my favorite, personally, my favorite crew at Tiger. But and I'm still friends with him now, but he's unfortunately moved to Singapore, so next time I go back to Thailand I won't be able to see him. But I know actually, yeah, like a lot of people were maybe with Don and a couple of other people, but Took's the man. Took's like he's like just a bit of a genius when it comes to holding pads and stuff like that. And he has pretty good English, which was really good for people like me. And he doesn't do a lot of like Western tourists and stuff. So he kind of actually cares about technique and all that sort of stuff. And I guess like Muay Thai in Thailand has become a little bit commercial. So when you go over there every now and again, there's about like 50 people just hitting pads with someone and then just doing all the same kind of 5 punch combos and whatnot. But no, crew's the man. Took is the coolest crew there for sure. Like,
Okay. Now you even had your mom over there hitting some pads and stuff. I mean, you better you better
yeah,
you better be careful what you show mom, because you get mom over there and mom get mad at you. She might just slap you in the back of the head.
that's very true. She has been watching for a long time now. I guess since even my karate days. So I thought it was about time that I kind of give back to her and show her some proper technique. But she's got natural technique because of watching me for so long, I think. So as soon as I started holding pads for my mum, she was getting the gist of it really quickly.
Okay, okay, so you taught your mom how to do a rising backflip and kick somebody in the head and land on her feet. That's what you showed her?
Yeah, exactly that technique. Yeah,
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. That's good. You were showing your lovely mom how to do these things. She's a great mom. You're a great daughter. That's just how it is.
thank you.
Okay, so Janae, usually, when I interview somebody for the first time, and I say for the first time because, I'm throwing that little hint like, man, I'm gonna
Well,
get to
back.
interview you again. See, I'm throwing that in there. See, I kind
Yeah,
of, I
yeah.
slid it in there. You
Set it
kind of,
up
yeah, I think you got it though. You caught it. You're a smart girl.
for sure.
I want to play. I want to do a segment of what would you do.
Okay, let's
So
do it.
I just ask you a question, a scenario, and you tell me what would you do. But you got to be honest. Oh, and you can't laugh.
Okay, I'll try straight face.
Okay, you got to do it with a straight face. Okay.
hmm
You go into the gym, and the partner that you have to spar with has breath that smells like possum piss. What would you do?
I think if I just had to do one round with them, I'm the kind of person that would just deal with it and then move on to another partner, like straight away.
Oh,
I wouldn't say anything. I'm not that kind of person. I don't know why, whether people like it or not.
but you're not supposed
Deal
to
with
laugh
it.
though.
Yeah, true. Sorry,
Oh man. Okay. All right.
I
Okay.
just screwed it up.
Okay. What would you do if you went to practice and coach wasn't there for an entire 2 weeks, and you didn't know where he went?
Just probably still had to practice and still do my best for, and then hopefully just wait for him to come back, and definitely hassle him a lot, like through Messenger or whatever I could to figure out where he'd gone. But for sure, just keep on keeping on.
This is a warrior. She don't even need a coach to keep her motivated. She just go. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you do if your mom stopped cooking you home meals?
Oh, that happened a long time ago. My mom's a single parent and I'm an only child, so she was always working and stuff anyway. And I think she stopped cooking me home meals a while ago, and I haven't really lived with her for a long time now, so when I get a home cooked meal, I get super excited. But we just kind of end up making our own food, and I'm pretty good at cooking now, so that's always a positive thing for sure.
Really, you good at cooking, or are you good at burning stuff up? I mean, which one is it?
No, I'm actually not that. I've been told, my feedback from my boyfriend is that I'm not a bad cooker, so
Okay.
that's good.
Well, awesome. All right. Last couple of questions. What would you do if somebody walked up in the street and slapped you in the back of the head? What would you do?
Ask them why they did it. Turn around and ask them why they did it, and just understand what their reasoning was. I've never been in a street fight in my life, so I definitely can't say I would turn around and slap them back. I would just more be super confused as to what's going on, and just like maybe try to reason with them and ask them to not do it again to anyone else.
Y'all heard that? Hey, don't run up on her, because she's going to give you a chance to get yourself together. But if you do it again, it might not end up good for you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then I'm going to have to defend myself.
She got to defend. Last question. Okay,
yeah.
You just got a phone call to go pick up $10 million.
Go pick $10 million up?
She said it so calmly too, guys. Just go pick up the $10 million. Okay, well, great, yep. great. Oh man, this is awesome. Okay, I've had a little bit of fun. I've had some fun here. Wow, Janay, is there anybody you wanna give a shout out to? You wanna thank? Cause I've enjoyed this.
Just my team in Sydney, ATT, just want to thank them for obviously having me and just shouting out that gym as a general thing, because, I wouldn't have been as prepared for that fight as I was without them. And, everyone who supports me, I'm just really happy for everyone who likes, comments, watches my interviews, watches my podcasts, or anything that I'm on. I've got like a ton of support, especially during this whole Bellator experience, and I've been almost overwhelmed by the amount of people who've kind of given me positive feedback, people that I used to know or new people, all that kind of stuff. I really, really appreciate it. So just thanks to everyone.
Okay, and one final question. I peeped in an interview. And guy, I feel like I've been binge watching all of Janay Harding fights. Yeah, that's what I feel like.
You know me better than I know myself.
Well, hey, nah, I can't say that because but you did one little segment and you was talking about people that was hating, people that was hating, leaving like these crazy comments. I mean, what you do with these haters? I mean, because they're not going to approach you in real life.
Yeah, you just screenshot them, send them to your friends, and laugh about it. And me and my boyfriend laugh about it all the time, and then you just carry on. It's not a big deal. It's just people will be people, and a lot of people, if you've got nothing better to do than sit there and comment on posts or whatever because of certain things, or put a negative opinion out there, then you don't have a very good quality of life. So it's pretty funny in our
life. You stupid trolls. You just don't.
Yeah.
Stupid. And finally, Janay, after I close it off with this, if there's a young female that's looking at this video, can you maybe give a quick blurb of what it entails, like what kind of mindset you got to have to do this thing like you're doing? Last of 2 days.
For sure, it's definitely not going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of hurdles and a lot of obstacles. It's not going to be a smooth sailing kind of pathway to success, but I think just stick to your ethics, stick to your morals, and just believe in yourself, and then you'll hopefully end up where you need to be if you just back yourself and put 100% into something. You can't kind of fail as long as you do the best that you possibly can and be a good person. It should come back to you.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Janay, next time I interview you, I want to interview you with your mom, I mean,
Sounds good.
no, I'm serious. I'm serious because now I want to get the inside of the woman that had the woman. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds great.
Okay. Well, listen, I just, now I want you to do a drop, but you got to do a good drop now. You can't do a bad drop. You got to do a good one. Okay. So, oh no, you coughing? Hey, you getting a little choked up over this. I am too. I'm choked up too.
Too much pressure. Too much pressure.
That's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, so can I get you to say, hey, this is Janay Hollowpoint Harding, and you're watching Coach Shelton Harrison. Oh, wait.
No worries. This is Janay Hollowpoint Harding, and you're watching Coach Shelton Harrison.
Golly, you got that right. I must have spoke clear with this southern accent I got.